we have got.
The scene is set here at the historic Chatsworth House.
Dressage, show jumping and cross country, we will be bringing you all of the action across the weekend from the heart of the Derbyshire countryside.
World champions record holders will all be battling it out in what promises to be the most competitive field ever seen.
30 riders from 8 nations, 8 former leg winners and 5 of the world's top 10.
Who has what it takes to win? This is Eventing Reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters 2019.
Welcome to the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, back bigger and better than ever before. It all starts here at the historic Chatsworth estate, the seat of the Duke of Devonshire and home to the Cavendish family since 1549. From the barrack balustrades and gilded galleries of the house to the unique challenges of the iconic hills, Chatsworth House is a setting as timeless as the sport itself. It is the perfect backdrop for the extreme sport of eventing, and the stage is set for an epic showdown of guts and determination between a hot field of some of eventing's biggest superstars. Welcome to Chatsworth. My goodness, 2019 is about to kick off in the Event Rider Masters series, and we are delighted to have you with us. Wherever in the world you are joining us from, welcome to Derbyshire. And my God, we have all of the action for you, Event Rider Masters, throughout the weekend. So do stay with us. We'll be here in the studio, but we'll have all of the behind the scenes action down on the ground as well. Let's go and say a very good morning to Hannah.
Good morning, Nicole. And what a better morning it is. We've had a lot of rain over the last couple of days, but I'm glad to say the clouds have parted for now and the rain is staying away. You can see behind me the crowds are gathering for what is leg one of this new 2019 series. The action is about to kick off behind me in the dressage arena. We have got some of the world's best combinations here. The slate has been wiped clean. Riders, owners and teams are all gearing up to see who can make their mark on this first event of 2019. But we all know Chatsworth is not an easy venue. We are in the hills of Derbyshire, and that makes the cross-country track very, very tough. But for now, today, the focus is on the phase which we all love, dressage, which is going to kick off behind me very shortly.
Well, today it is all about the dressage. Tomorrow will be about the jumping phases, the show jumping and the cross country as well over the Chatsworth Hills that we'll talk a lot about throughout the weekend. But just what is eventing? Because it is the triathlon of equestrian sport. What does it take to win? Let's find out.
Eventing is the triathlon of equestrian sports, where the athletes and their horses are tested across the 3 classic Olympic disciplines: dressage, show jumping and cross country. Scoring is simple. The closest to 0 wins. Riders need to start off with a good score in the dressage phase, and then in the next 2 jumping phases will do their best to add no further penalties to that dressage score. The show jumping phase tests the technical jumping skills of horse and rider. The goal is to jump clear and within the time allowed, adding 0 penalties to the rider's original dressage score. Each Event Rider Masters competition then culminates in the holy grail of eventing, the cross country. The clear round is once again the goal, and this time speed, courage and stamina are the keys to success. The horses and riders run in reverse order of the leaderboard, the final phase reaching fever pitch as the leg leaders take to the course. When the final combination crosses the line, the champion is crowned.
It really is such a unique challenge. You need a horse that is obedient, calm, relaxed in the dressage. That's the phase we're going to be able to see today. But they've also got to be good enough in the show jumping, careful, able to leave those poles in the cup, and then run fast across the country. Be brave, have the scope, the agility to chase the clock. And Ian Stark, the cross-country course designer here, the Chatsworth cross-country is a real feature. To get a horse that is good in all three of those disciplines really is a huge challenge, and one that we are excited to see which of our contenders here this weekend can take on with the best intentions to top the podium come Sunday afternoon. And you won't know the winner of the first leg of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series here until the last horse goes out on course over Ian Stark's cross-country track on Sunday afternoon. But as Hannah said a little bit earlier on, the slate is wiped clean in terms of the series. All back to zero. Any one of those huge contenders could put on very good series points this weekend. They want to get good points on the board early. 6 events in the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series across 5 different countries. And if they can get points on the board here, that will set them up very well for the rest of the season. And make no mistake, these guys are super, super competitive. So who are the 2019 series contenders to take the top spot on the podium for the series? Let's take a closer look and find out.
As the world's best riders and their horses ready themselves for a brand new season, the competition for the most coveted prize in eventing will be tougher than ever. Chris Burton returns after his spectacular season in 2018 to defend his title, whilst Laura Collett and Tim Price will surely be hungry to dethrone the reigning champion.
To win the ERM series in 2019, there's no doubt it's been weighing on our minds over the winter time. It's something we're thinking about. However, we'll take it day by day, we'll take it year by year, and it's a difficult sport with so many top riders and so many good horses.
I'm looking for obviously a market improvement this season. I think the unique thing with this series is you need a couple of horses. The way the series is formatted now, it's about being consistent across all legs.
I'm always very excited about the ERM series. Sometimes I wonder if getting excited about it has been my Achilles heel, because often when I've had a good time, it comes when I've just quietly gone about my business. So quietly confident would be my official answer, but I am genuinely very excited to get out there and get stuck in.
Standing in their way, however, will be a stellar field of world champions, Olympic heroes and ERM superstars.
I think it's always super competitive because every rider wants to win an ERM leg and every rider wants to win the series. It's about who's got the most consistent horses and who can really target each leg.
That's one of the greatest things about our sport. For me, it's us versus the course. It's us versus the show jumping, it's us versus the dressage test.
I don't have a personal nemesis within sport. I think we're most of the time battling against ourselves for better performances.
You know, if anything, I sort of admire, you know, what the other top guys are doing. Sometimes envious of a couple of horses or a string of horses they have at the time. But all of these things, I think, you know, drive you to work harder, train more, and hopefully finish that one step ahead of them.
You know, Gemma Tattersall, she's won it before. Tim Price, I've heard, is probably going to aim Wesco at a few, so obviously they're an amazing combination and he could be really hard to beat. Yeah, it's super competitive and looking forward to doing battle with everybody.
Well, you cannot discount any one of those contenders. There's many more as well, and we're going to be seeing many of them coming forward over the 3 phases in the next couple of days as well. But one of the things we love about the Event Rider Masters series is Equa Ratings. We get some incredible access to all of the stats, the facts, the figures, what it takes to win, and who we should be looking out for this weekend. And one of the new innovations for 2019 is the introduction of Equa Ratings Corner. Derm has his entire space, and what we want to know is who Equa Ratings are putting up for the series win this year. Derm, who do we need to look out for?
Thanks, Nicole, and welcome to Equa Ratings Corner. Finally, we have our own space. Look, I don't want to make this too obvious, but looking towards the contenders for 2019, you can't look too far beyond the recent champions. Chris Burton, we're going to see him out reasonably early this morning with Lowtown Chloe. That's a really important test because Lowtown Chloe is going to be added to a serious string for Chris Burton. We know he travels across Europe. We know he has the capability. We look last week at badminton, we saw it with the speed. Today is going to be a speed test. Keep an eye on Lowtown Chloe, adding him to horses like Cooley Lands, Polystar. He remains a major contender to follow up and defend his title. Let's look even a year back before that. Another previous ERM champion, Gemma Tattersall. Again, we're going to see her this morning with Quick Look. But don't forget, we still have to add in horses like that whole range of Chile horses. Chico Bella P, will we see her later in the series? Oliver Townend, the very first champion. So we're looking at the first 3 champions. But again, Tregilda, Ulysses, adding that to people like Kilnabrad and Evo. We know he travels. We know he's consistent. Look, the first of the prices, we're not going to see them this weekend, but we know that the prices are consistent. Will they be lucky this year? They haven't yet won an Event Rider Masters. A range of horses at the top level. Janelle Price, will we see her finally get an Event Rider Masters champion? And of course, Tim as well. What can we say about this man? He is going to be the world #1 for pretty much the whole of the Event Rider Masters season, I would expect. That's going to start in June. Will he be the Event Rider Masters #1 at the end of the season? Laura Collett, a big string of horses. Very disappointing last week with Mr. Bass. But now we've got London 52. We've seen big performances from London 52 in Event Rider Masters before. What I'm looking forward to is seeing the next of the big ones stepping in, and that's going to be De Capo. So London 52, De Capo, she's got 2 big guns. I think Laura Collett has a big chance. And finally, a little bit of a dark horse, but with a really exciting string of horses. Alexander Bragg, we know all about Zagreb, but look who's coming through. We've got Shannondale Percy still sitting there. We've got Alcatraz, a very up-and-coming horse. We've got Baracello, a former William Fox Pitright. He has a big shout. We've heard people talking about consistency. We've heard people talking about, look, they're going to have to travel all across Europe. It's a wide open field this year for the Event Rider Masters 2019 champion.
Well, who will it be? 3 people have topped the Event Rider Masters series podium over the last 3 years, and Hannah is catching up with our former champions.
No, the Event Rider Masters is no easy feat to win. It's one of the most competitive series in eventing, and I am super lucky because I have got the 3 former series winners all here, the champions lining up to defend their title again in 2019. Christopher Burton, you're our defending champion, 2-leg wins last year. What are your ambitions for the year? Are you going to defend your title?
Oh, we'll of course be trying. I don't know if I can get lucky that many times in a row, but we'll give it a shot.
It's super important to have a good string of horses, isn't it? Because you've got to have the horsepower to compete not only in the Event Rider Masters but in the other events that you do too.
Yeah, absolutely. Horsepower is everything, and I'm very fortunate that I've got some supportive owners that have found this lovely mare for me that I'm riding this weekend, in fact.
Well, I know a lot of people are going to be gunning for you, going to try and get you off that top spot. Gemma Tattersall, you won in 2017. Gemma, the Event Rider Masters is amazing. You know, there's loads of prize money. It's great commercially. Did it change your life, change your career, or put you on a different trajectory at all?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely love the Event Rider Masters. It's almost like a family. It's so great to be involved. It's certainly helped me buy a house, which is amazing. And I would say it's changing eventing for the great. Yeah.
We've got a few competitors here this weekend who have frightening dates of birth. I mean, we're talking like 99, 98, you know, which we can't even dream of. But for them to line up against the likes of you is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's so exciting for them. And I'm guessing it's their dream to come here and compete in an Event Rider Masters. And massive good luck to them.
And a man that's no stranger to the Event Rider Masters, Oliver Townend, won in 2016. Yeah, I'm losing track now. Oliver, commercially, you have a lot of sponsors, a lot of partners, a lot of people to keep happy, a lot of owners. How does the Event Rider Masters help you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive step forwards. It's been the biggest step forwards in the sport whilst I've been involved, in that it gives you more coverage. It's covered fantastically by you guys, and it allows owners as well all over the world to follow their horse. They don't have to be at the event with the coverage. It's just great for everybody involved.
You're looking very svelte, Oliver. Have you lost a lot of weight this season?
I've lost a lot of weight. A lot of people seem to be talking about it. Anyway, I've put a good bit on since last Saturday, but yeah, it's been a big help. Had a few good runners at those big long long distance events, so every little pound helps.
And very quickly, Ulysses making the debut this weekend at the Event Rider Masters. What can we expect?
I don't know. He's a horse that's a little bit sort of under the radar with this level. He came here last year and actually won a CIC 3-star or a CCI 4-star short now. So he likes the place, but we'll just have to give him my best shot and hope that he gives me his.
Brilliant, Oliver. Thank you so much. Well, with 3 former series winners, it is so inspiring, not just for the youngsters, but for the rest of the 30-strong field we have. All of the combinations lining up and going into the dressage super shortly. All know the Event Rider Masters.
They're an impressive bunch, and we've no doubt they'll be pushing those young guns all the way this weekend. But one of the things about the Event Rider Masters series that we love is our partnership with technology giants SAP, and it brings to you stacks, it brings you the spectator judging app, and for this year we are increasing our support of Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity, an incredible charity that does so much for the sport of eventing and holds a very, very close part of all of our hearts. Let's just take a look and see how you can get involved with the Event Rider Masters series.
A new offering for eventing fans in 2019. Test your expertise and judging skills in the Spectator Judging app and with EquiRating stacks. Fans on site and at home can win outstanding prizes by judging, predicting, donating to the Wilbury charity and by interacting with the ERM media channels. Join the ERM Fan League today, presented by SAP Sports.
Well, there are so many ways that you can get involved, and we hope that you will do, because there is a huge prize not only for the person who gets the most points at this leg, but also for the whole series as well. There is an absolutely huge prize that will be announced very shortly, so you don't want to miss out. Now, Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony. It is a huge, huge part. I'm sure you've seen them being carried around the cross country, and each of our riders this weekend will be carrying Wilbury Wonder Pony out on course. And a brilliant addition is this fantastic little harness, which you can clip on to your number bib. All of the riders will be doing that over the weekend, and it is actually Hannah's grandma that is making these. They've got the hashtag Kicking Cancer's Butt on the back as well. It is an incredible charity. Hannah has left such an inspiring legacy, and if you can, please do give generously. All of the information is on the Spectator Judging app. You can find the link through SAP as well, and you will get more points in your fan league too. And you want to build those points, as I say, huge prizes on offer. But the action this weekend here at Chatsworth, we know Chatsworth is a unique challenge. Let's go back to EquiRating's Corner and find out just what it does take to win here at Chatsworth. Derm, what do riders need to do?
Nicole, it's a really interesting venue when you look at what it takes to win. The big one for me around Chatsworth is that I think when we first came here, when Event Rider Masters first arrived, there was only one person in 1,000 runs who'd made the time. That was Astia Nicola. And I think we've talked about speed an awful lot in that time, the requirement to be fast. On the hills of Chatsworth, how quickly the time penalties build up. I think that message has gotten out there. The one that I really want to concentrate on today is I think that people are not really, are a little bit perhaps overlooking how well you need to start. Three previous ERM winners, I should say, at this venue were all in the top 5 after dressage. You've got to start very well at Chatsworth. That requires, for me, you probably need to be looking at a sub-30 test, and possibly even lower. Looking at some of the record dressage tests that you've seen at this venue, you can go all the way back to 2014. 21.1 was William Fox Pitt, and the very first Event Rider Masters, Kitty King Sealerland, 21.9. That was one of the big tests on the opening day of the Event Rider Masters. Nicole Brown said to me that she's expecting a dressage record this weekend. Would it be quick luck? Will someone get into the 20s? I don't know. I think we've got some great dressage horses, but don't underestimate how well you need to start. 3 of those winners are all of our ERM winners in the top 5 after dressage. The next thing that people aren't really mentioning is you've got to keep the poles up. It feels pretty simple, but we've only ever had 2 winners, Gemma Tattersall and Chris Burton. Chris Burton at Blair, Gemma Tattersall at Gatcombe, who've actually knocked a pole and gone on to win. I would say you've got to finish in this region. You've got to finish in around 28 if you want to win. That's what Piggy French did last year. I'm going to keep this simple, Nicole. Start well, you've got to jump clear, and you've got to be fast. It's as easy as that.
As easy as that. We know you've got to finish as close to zero in eventing, but it is not that straightforward. We have some of the world's best here this weekend. We've heard from our 3 series champions, but as Hannah alluded to, there are a number of young guns who are going to push them to the wire.
Nicole, I am suddenly feeling very old. I have to say, I thought I was quite young, but this lot, 20, 21, honestly blows my mind. Anyway, I'm here with some of our young talent from this year. We've got Yasmin Ingham here, Bubby Upton and Molly Summerland. They are the hottest new talent on the block. They're all new to the ERM series and they are all here to make their mark and give those, oldies a run for the money, aren't they? Yas, we've just dragged you off your horse. You're warming up. You're getting ready for your dressage test. How are you feeling? How are the nerves?
I'm really excited to be competing in my first ERM this year. So I've sort of been watching it the past few years and hoping that I'd get a chance to be a part of it. So I'm just delighted to be here, especially with it only being the only British leg. So it's nice to be here at Chatsworth. So I'm delighted. Piglet, who I'm riding, Rahi DJ, he's very inexperienced at this level. So I'm just hoping he'll do a nice calm test. So we'll see.
But you've competed at Poe, a 5-star, so you should breeze this, shouldn't you?
Yeah, it was really exciting to compete in my first 5-star last year. Obviously, it's been like a childhood dream to compete at the top of my sport. So just like get there eventually is just so exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Okay, well, very best of luck with your test, which is in just a few minutes' time. Bubby Upton, European Junior Champion. I mean, you need no introduction. How are you feeling about being here, lining up against the likes of Piggy French, Oliver Townend, Christopher Burton?
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to be given the experience to compete here, and we're competing against all of our idols, so it's amazing for all of us. I mean, I'm not sure we'll give them a run for our money, but I'm just going to go out there and enjoy it. And the horse that I'm riding, Fernhill Rockstar, he means so much to me. I've had him for 5 years now, and he owes me nothing, so I'm just going to go out there and enjoy it. He's not a flashy horse, so we're going to give it our best shot, but I'm not expecting, much. But he's amazing, so we're going to go out there and have fun.
Well, we're expecting a lot, Bubby, so you got to step up. Come on. And Molly, coming to you finally. Your best result, a 3rd at Belton, which was an extraordinary result for you. You're just 21 years old. But you've got your whole family here, haven't you? I mean, you've all 3 of you actually. Have you got your mums here helping you? I mean, how much of a family affair is it?
Well, me, Bubby and Yaz have gone kind of everywhere together. We went to the Europeans together as well, so our parents kind of know each other really well. So we do like to make it fun for everyone that comes with us, all our support teams and stuff, because, it's a big team effort to get the horses here. And, my team at home with the Coney family, it's a big team effort from them to get Charlie here. And, yeah, we're really excited to be here, yeah.
How are you feeling, Molly? You've got another horse here, and you're not into dressage until a little bit later, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's quite good, really, because I've got one of Wendy Coney's horses going around the 2-star here, so I can focus on him and not get too worried about my dressage too early on. Charlie, who I've got in the ERM, is a lovely dressage horse, so I'm hoping I can do him justice, because this would be his strongest phase today. Yeah.
Okay, best of luck, Molly, Bubby, and of course Yasmin. I mean, these guys are the next generation of talent. We're so delighted to have them here, and what an extraordinary opportunity.
And these young guns really will be pushing all of our experienced riders until the very, very end. So keep an eye on them in the dressage. Let's take a look at how those riders will be coming forwards, because we have some incredible names from the very first session. The dressage in the Event Rider Masters is seeded, so an average of up to the last 5 tests for each horse at this level is taken, and then they're split into 3 groups. So Group C will come forward, then Group B, Group A will be the last group. Now, in terms of combinations to watch, Chris Burton, the defending series champion, Lawtown Chloe, right off the bat, watch out for him. In the next session, you've the likes of Tom McEwen, Figaro Van Het Brooks off in incredible form, 1st and 3rd on their 2 runs so far this year. Bubby Upton, we're going to have her in the studio for the first part of dressage with Fernhill Rockstar as well. And here are the big names. Laura Collett, London 52, one of the favourites here this weekend. Gemma Tattersall, quick look. I'm putting them up to challenge the Event Rider Masters dressage record here this weekend. Now, we're going to pull Derm out of Equirating's corner to join us for these first few tests coming forward. Derm, in terms of ones to watch, we have excitement from right at the beginning of the day. Well, Malin, such a talented Swedish young rider, and actually comes here in very good form. Jumped double clear at Badminton last week with Golden Forever, and Agaton, owned by parent Mickey Josefsson, and 9-year-old by Jaguar Male. Well, Malin just getting those first scores in, and you can see the trending score there as well. There's a horse that is fairly inexperienced at this level, stepped up at the end of last season, competed in Nations Cup in Verugham, and then came over to Belton, went clear on cross country on both of those occasions. I will introduce you to our ground jury, the 3 members of the ground jury taking charge here this weekend. At C for Sweden, Christina Klingspor. At H, Angela Tucker for Great Britain. And at E, Mark Weisbecker for the United States. Well, riders in the Event Rider Masters series can choose the music that accompanies their test, and we're going to talk to Bubby in a few minutes, who's going to join us in the commentary studio, as to just how much thought goes into picking the music. But Malin selecting The Greatest by Sia, and then a little bit of Paloma Faith coming forward later on in her test as well. Well, plenty of 6s, 6.5s coming through. She'll be hoping that trending score does come down. I imagine it really will. But some 4s creeping in for the half past left as well. The 4-star B test that riders are coming forward to compete this weekend. The 2 different options of dressage test at this level. Malin, always a pressurised position to be the first to come into the dressage, but doing a super job. And some 7s creeping into her test as well. And the walk pirouettes in this test just proving a little bit expensive for Malin. She'll be pleased to put those behind her. Come into the canter work. And remember to keep up to date with all of the behind-the-scenes action in the Event Rider Masters series as well. All of that are available on social media. That first flying change not coming off at all, very late for Malin there. The judges are going to penalise her quite heavily for that. When the change did come, it was clean, but definitely not across the centre line. You can see a 2-4-3 from our judges. That really will push her score. Will be hoping for better luck in this second of the flying changes. 2 flying changes in this B test. And much better second time around. A clean change, and she'll be pleased after the first didn't quite come off for her. The judges are situated around the arena, get a great view from various different angles. Being a little bit safe with the extended canter. As she comes round up the final centre line, she'll be pretty disappointed with some of those marks, I'd have thought. You can see how much this horse can bring forward in the dressage in the future. But Marlin Josefsson and Agaton, they complete their test. We'll get a score for them as soon as it does come through. And Marlin, the first of 2 Swedish riders in the field for us. The other will be Ludvig Svenestål and Stinger, who come forward a little bit later on. And Ludvig already been on Event Rider Masters podium previously. We're yet to see a Swedish rider top the podium. Will it happen here at Chatsworth? They've 2 chances to come forwards. There's next to come forwards a lady who was actually on the podium at Blair last year. It is Emily Philp with Ian Wills's Falula. Emily ranked number 71 in the world, average dressage of 34.9 with Falula, a horse that was actually produced originally by owner Ian Wills. Completed Le Lion 7-year-old World Championships with Ian back in 2015, I think it was, or 2016. Had a bit of time off, and then Emily took over the ride. And she's had a good deal of experience with her top ride Camembert, who was on that podium at Blair Castle last year. Well, I'm delighted to say, joining me in the commentary studio, we heard from her a few moments ago. She is one of the young guns. Former junior European champion Bubby Upton, welcome to the studio. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the dressage. But first of all, first Event Rider Masters appearance. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Obviously, I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, he's an amazing horse. He owes me nothing, and he means so much to me. So I'm just so excited for the experience, and I feel so lucky to have got into the Event Rider Masters. It's what we all dream of. So yeah, it's great.
And you'll be pushing the Chris Burtons, the Oliver Townends, the Gemma Tatterstalls this weekend. There's a good number of you who I think can be challenging for a top 10.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of us in this section. I mean, like Molly, for example, her horse is unbelievably smart. My horse wouldn't be anywhere near as flashy as Molly's, but he's got a heart of gold, and he'll go out there and try his best, I hope. So, but yeah, there's lots of really exciting riders, so I'm sure they'll all give them a run for their money.
They really will. And Emily Philp getting her test underway, saluting to our ground jury with Falula. Now, the 4-star B test, the movements, one of the difficult things about it, Bubby, is they come up very thick and fast, don't they?
Yeah, they do come up very fast, and especially in that atmosphere as well. I'm like, we don't get many arenas like that, especially with the music. I don't know how loud the music is, but yeah, when they come up fast, then your horses are very sharp off your leg. You need a lot more preparation, but you don't have time for it. So yeah, it's going to be tough in there.
How do you train for that at home? Lots of loud playlists?
Yes, I actually drove my car up to the arena and was blasting music from the car. And every time I went past it, my horse didn't like it, so I'm not sure what he's going to be like in there. But yeah, so I try and practice the conditions as much as possible, but you can't replicate, the trade stands and the amount of people that are there watching. So you just got to hope, give them enough work and hope that they settle.
And there's plenty of good scores coming in for Emily. She's making a very good first impression on our judges.
Yeah, she is, and she's getting some good marks there. I know I heard that some of the judging yesterday, there was one judge that you need to try and impress more than the... Are they the same judges yesterday? I'm not sure.
Putting me on the spot now, Babby. Putting me on the spot. Leave it with me, I'll double check for you. Well, some good 7.5s coming in. I actually think that trending score should be a little bit lower than it's currently there on the moment, so perhaps a few of those scores not logging just yet. She certainly hasn't done anything wrong.
This is a tough movement as well, because horses are used to going straight into canter or trot after their walk movement, so You've got to keep them really nice and relaxed.
There's a lot of walk in this
There's a lot
second
of
test,
walk,
isn't there?
I know.
And you said the walk pirouettes a moment ago. It's one of the harder movements. What are we looking for?
Well, they've got to keep stepping behind in the walk pirouettes and not get stuck. And they've got to keep a very regular beat in their walk as well, so you don't want to see a difference in the walk pattern. But it's very difficult. And then when you have to do the strike off as well, you've got to make sure they don't think they're doing another pirouette. So it's very tough, the walk in this test. So if you've got a good walk, you'll be happy in this to have this test.
A bit of Bruno Mars.
Is that what she's got?
I think a little bit of Bruno Mars, Will You Marry Me?
Nice. Do they play all 3 song choices?
They play it for as long as the test is, unless you're Chris Burton, who choreographs his test to his music.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll see that in a minute.
I was watching him warm up earlier on that lovely mare. It looks beautiful.
Well, Emily certainly putting in a very, very solid performance. Not the big flashy marks, but she isn't doing anything to let our judges take those marks away from her, really. Plenty of 7.5s have been creeping through. And that change wasn't quite as clean as she would have liked, but I don't think it'll prove too expensive. Although the judges could totally prove me wrong.
Oh yeah, good fine marks for the change. It's actually quite a nice change in this test because you have loops, so it's quite, and then you have the straight line for the change, so it's different for the horses, so it's not like you're having to perform the change on another loop and then they're always guessing a bit.
Well, Emily Philp and Falula just finishing their test. Emily looks really delighted with that, and I think she should be because the horse really tried for her, Bubby.
Yeah, and it stayed really nice and calm as well. It didn't look like it was phased at all by the atmosphere. I'll be pleased if my horse is that calm later.
Well, we'll be looking forward to you coming forward. What time is your test, Bubby? I'm just going to double check.
2:23.
2:23. There we go. So if you want to tune in and see Bubby's test, it will be 2:23, eventridermasters.tv. Emily Philp will bring you a score for her, but Marlin, 45.1 as the first to go in the dressage. She's with Hannah.
Marlin, you're first out this morning. That's never easy, but it wasn't the best test for you. You're a little bit disappointed, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's been a bit strange since he came to England, but sadly he did not want to work in there today.
When you say strange, what do you mean? How long has he been over here for?
2 months now. It started that he had some problem with his neck, and it's actually fixed now, but it takes some time to get him back to work and back to business, and yeah, it was hard for today.
I mean, you're an old friend of the Event Rider Masters and you're normally here with Alan, but this time you decided to bring a different horse.
You changed plan for Alan. He was a bit naughty in the spring and we need to do something a bit smaller for him before we take him out again. And I changed horse and actually, yeah, it was a bit hard today.
Oh well, he's a very good cross-country jumper, isn't he? So hopefully that will be good for you.
Yeah, I hope he really can show that tomorrow why he's here actually.
Okay, best of luck, Marlin. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, brilliant to have Marlin competing over here in England over the summer. As we'll get a score for Emily Philp and Falula in just a moment's time. They come as the second combination into the arena. But this next combination coming forward, Bubby Upton in the studio with me. Bubby, you mentioned him a few moments ago. Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe. I mean, all I can say is, oh my God.
I know, it's beautiful. He hasn't had the horse for long, but I was actually working with him earlier and it is stunning. You can't help but look at it, and I'm sure he's going to do an amazing test. We all know he always pulls out a good one when it's needed.
And Lawtown Chloe, experienced at the level, was actually produced up to this level over in Germany by Anna Siemer. Chris took on the ride late last year, so they're a little bit of an unknown quantity together. One thing I would say, their only international test, admittedly at the level below this year, was a 21.9. Dan, I'm excited about this one. I put him up on the EquiRatings Eventing podcast to top the podium this weekend. Am I going mad? I think he's in with a very good shout.
Nicole, it's been a long time since I heard a horse talked about this much, for who doesn't have as many runs, but 21.9 at Bicton, and they finished on it. She has experience. Chris, obviously a very fast rider. This is going to be a track that suits speed, but how low can Lawtown Chloe start? If they match the hype, I'm expecting a lot.
Just
Bubby?
a bit of tension there.
Yeah, looks like she has got quite tense. She canted off from her halt, but I'm sure, she looks quite excited by the atmosphere, but I'm sure Chris will settle her, hopefully.
How difficult is it? You come up that centre line, you want to make a great first impression on the judges.
Look at that. Oh. No.
You just
I know.
feel like he's keeping a lid on her.
And I guess he has no idea how she's going to be in this atmosphere as well. Obviously a very new combination. And she is a little bit excited, but still beautiful to look at. I mean, look at her.
And you can really see, the start of that's only a medium trot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was his medium trot.
I
What's
know.
his extended going to be like?
And I think for some horses, though, you ride them the same. I know I don't have a difference really between my medium and extended trot.
You just go
kind of
for
go as big as I can, but yeah, probably with a horse like this, I'm sure as extended, there is a difference. But it's a shame about the bit of tension. So expressive behind.
You can see he just played it a little bit more safe.
Didn't he was kind of preparing her around the corner, settling her, and then went for the extended trot. Be interesting to see what she's like in the walk.
Well, Emily filled 33.2, so she set the standard at the moment. We did think this combination would really challenge that top spot, but he's doing a masterful job, isn't he? Because he's showing all of his experience here. The horse is obviously pretty tense in that atmosphere.
It's the worst feeling when you're kind of sitting on a ticking time bomb. There's not much you can really do. Just try and make them as relaxed as possible and not worry about the but yeah, she's not that happy in the atmosphere.
She's not making his life easy.
No. And, with a horse like this as well, you want to be able to really ride it and show off its paces, and she's not allowing him to do that.
Well, Chris will be really looking forward to getting into the canter away from this walk, I think. And the horse, you can just hear her sneezing slightly. Is that a sign of tension?
Yeah, I was always told by my trainer, Ruth McMullen, that when they sneeze, that is always tension.
Now, Ruth McMullen, is that Pippa Funnel fame?
Yes, exactly. She's an absolute hero. She's amazing. I've been lucky to be trained by her for quite a few years now. And yeah, she's amazing.
So Ruth McMullen, Pippa Funnel was based with her in her early years, and basically I think Pippa credits a huge part of her career to Ruth's influence, so you're in very good hands.
Yes, I'm very lucky indeed.
Just a bit short behind in the change.
Good marks for the half pass.
It's nice to see the judges, even in a test where they've given a 2, reward the good marks as well.
Yeah, that's always really nice when they don't kind of hold it against you and they're happy to give away the big marks afterwards. such a shame because you're just thinking about how unbelievable it could have been.
A little bit of what if. But how, when he gets this horse relaxed in this atmosphere, you can see how much is there in this first phase.
It'll be incredible. I know it really will be incredible, won't it? But such an early partnership as well, so. Beautiful medium canters.
And actually the horse has got more relaxed as the test has gone on.
Yeah, the canter's definitely, it's a relief, as you said, when he gets into the canter. I mean, he did, and at least it's standing in its last halt, which is
more than
nice.
Did
yeah, exactly.
Well, Lordtown Chloe, absolutely remember this horse's name. 2/8 for his final extended medium canter as well, and an 8 for the halt and a 5.5. Judges, of course, seeing it from a different angle. But Chris Burton, Lordtown Chloe, not quite the test we were looking for. We'll bring you their score as soon as it does come through.
Emily Philp, a 33.2. You're delighted with that?
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. It's a new partnership, so yeah, good result for her. And I can have a few explosions and things. So I was sort of aiming for a bit of a clear round today, and my changes weren't brilliant, but and there were a few little mistakes, but it's heading in the right direction. So.
The sun's come out. There's quite an atmosphere building here. There's quite a lot of people, the music. We get that with the RMs. She dealt with it well.
Yeah, she did. She's only a young horse, or youngish horse. She's 10, and again, like I said, we're a new partnership, so we're still just trying to sort of figure things out between us. But yeah, I mean, it's great fun, isn't it? And it's brilliant to be able to get them out into this environment. And yeah.
We loved having you on the podium in Blair at the end of last year. That was fantastic. Are we gunning for another podium this year? What are your plans with the RM?
Well, it was a bit of a shock to be in the RM, to be honest, this time on a young horse that I haven't had very long. But that was just fantastic, wasn't it? It was brilliant, and he's just been to badminton, so that was great. And we'll see. I mean, my show jumping on this mare can be a little bit dicey, so hopefully she can leave some poles up. And she's normally, touch wood, a good cross country horse, so we'll see what we can do.
Okay, best of luck, Emily.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Emily is the leader at the moment. Lordtown Chloe, Chris Burton, 36.5, go into second at the moment. And I think Chris will be pretty disappointed with that test, but a new partnership. And this is a horse that we definitely want to be watching very closely for Chris, not only this year, but also heading into the Tokyo 2020 Olympic year next year too. If you are just joining us, then a very warm welcome to Chatsworth. The sun is shining, we've some incredible competition, and in the studio with me is Bubby Upton, and Bubby coming forward a little bit later on with Fernhill Rockstar. But now we welcome Yasmin Ingham with Rehe DJ. Yasmin, who is the reigning under-21 national champion, has taken under-16 and under-18 national titles in her career as well. And Bubby, you know Yasmin really well because you actually were on the young rider teams together last year.
Yes, I was. Yaz is a good friend of mine, and was my teammate last year. She's such a nice girl and a very, very talented rider, as you'll see during this test. Her horse, known as Piglet, is such a solid performer. He's quite inexperienced at this level still, but he's pulled out some good scores, I think, at Burnham. He did a good test, and he's very level in the head, so an atmosphere like this, I can imagine, can only help him.
And having a horse that is this relaxed in this sort of an atmosphere in a team environment must be a huge benefit as well.
Yeah, so nice. When we were watching her test at the Europeans last year, you just know that he's going to come out and do a really, really solid test. And they know each other quite well now. But yeah, he's a lovely horse, and I know that Yaz thinks so much of him.
So unlucky to miss out on an individual medal at those Young Rider Europeans. Finished in 4th place individually and were 13th a little bit earlier on this year at Burnham Market. So only having stepped up to the level in 2019, but already with some good results on the board.
He almost looks like he's being a fraction on the lazier side, which is quite nice because she can really ride him. He's got a really nice walk, this horse, as well. So hopefully she can pick up some marks in the walk. And we had this movement as well in our young rider test, so hopefully it will swung a bit.
Just see the difference between him and between Chris Burton's horse, last horse in the arena. Ray DJ, so relaxed, so rideable. He's really letting Yaz ask him for what she wants.
So nice and relaxed, and that's always so nice because then you can, as I said earlier, just really ride for the movements as opposed to kind of sitting and hoping and praying a bit. No, he's a really nice horse, Ray DJ.
The first of these flying changes.
Be interesting to see her changes. I don't know how established he is in them. Good.
Right, looked all right, the first one. It is the first time that flying changes come into a dressage test at this level, isn't it?
Which
you don't have to do them at the level below.
Oh no, yes, first time, yeah, exactly. So there's a big step up between the 3-star and the 4-star dressage tests. And teaching horses changes as always.
Fun.
Difficult.
Not quite as clean as the first.
No, yeah, he just like bounded a bit on his forehand into it, but he still pulled it off. I think she'll be really pleased. He's done no big mistakes and been so well behaved in the atmosphere.
And only a 9-year-old.
From the front, looks like a very nice halt to finish. Yeah, only 9, yeah.
Well,
good boy,
9 years of age, Ray DJ and Yasmin Ingham finishing her test. We had a bit earlier on today, and she does look pretty pleased with that. We'll bring you a score for her as soon as it does come through. And a horse that has only recently stepped up to the level, scored 39.1 at Belton previously, but I think she'll improve on that here. It was a very clean test, there weren't any major mistakes.
Yeah, it was, as people refer to it, a clear round in the dressage. He made no major mistakes, was very, very obedient. So yeah, she'll be very pleased with that.
Well, we'll bring you a score for Yasmin as soon as it does come through. And of course, you can keep up to date with all of those scores at eventridermasters.tv as well. Well, Chris Burton just done his test, and he is the defending series champion. Can he get points on the board this weekend? He scored 36.5 with Lawtown Chloe in the first phase here, the combination's first run at this level. And let's go and hear what he had to say.
Well, Chris Burton, you've just had your test on Lawtown Chloe, a new ride for you. You're joined by your owners here, Sue and Carolyn. A little bit disappointing?
Yeah, not our best day at the office, sadly. For whatever reason, she got very excited, thought it was cross-country. But we're here, the sun's shining, and I've got my 2 favourite owners with me.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Carolyn, what's it like to be an owner and stand?
Fantastic. We've supported Chris now for many years. I think we were your first English owners?
Yes.
Yes. And we're right behind him all the way, and we think he does a fantastic job. Never doubt him.
Well, he's certainly one of our favourites here at the Event Rider Masters. Sue, you watched. It must be a little bit disappointing for you as well, seeing a test not quite go the right way.
Of course it is, but we can't win every time. And more important is a new horse to Chris, new horse to us, and we're all getting used to how she is. And you take on a horse, an 11-year-old horse, and you sometimes have to undo some of the past and start it a little bit afresh. But we were thrilled. She's done fine.
And let's not forget, he's the fastest man in the world. And we've got cross-country to come. So very best of luck, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Well, next to come forwards, it is Susie Berry, one of 3 Irish combinations in the field. Susie rides at Stonehenge. Such a talented young rider for Ireland, has come through junior young rider ranks, and a very impressive start. This is a horse that's experienced at this level. It's actually produced by Nicky Roncaroni, and Susie took on the ride last year. And I think, Susie, am I right in saying she was out at the Young Rider Europeans in Mill Street the year you won your junior title?
Yeah, she was there. I know Susie quite well. She's so nice. She's based with Piggy, and Piggy doesn't live far away from us, so we often see them training. She's so nice, so talented, so I really hope that she does a good test here. And yes, she was out at the Europeans with me, where she had a proper heartbreaking time. She was in an individual medal position, and then really sadly her horse had to withdraw before the trot up the next day, and that was so sad because she so deserved to win an individual medal. That's horses, isn't it? Really tough.
Well, things certainly going well at the start of her test here, making her Event Rider Masters debut. And there was an Irish rider on the podium here 12 months ago, Sarah Ennis, Horseware Stella Rebound, who took second behind Piggy French and Quarry Crest Echo. Susie actually one of 3 riders that is being mentored by Pippa Funnell as part of the Windrush Equestrian Foundation. So she's accessed not only through Piggy but Pippa to some incredible training. How much of a difference does it make, Bubby? You know, you can see these riders that are competing at the highest level, have been competing at the highest level for many, many years, to be able to tap into not only the riding side of things, but the stable management, life management, everything.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, Susie's so lucky to be based with someone as incredible as Piggy, and then also the Windrush Foundation sounds incredible. I know that all the riders on it feel really lucky with all the knowledge and lessons and training that they get from Pippa. So we're so lucky to have so many amazing people to look up to in the sport, and it gives us a lot of motivation to strive to be as good as them hopefully one day.
Just a little bit of tension creeping in the walk.
She's still able to use her leg though. You can see that she's still putting a lot of leg on him, which is nice.
And trending early 30s as things stand at the moment.
Change. It's nice.
And you can just see around the outside of the arena the stone that's been put down, and a little bit of turf just flew out there. The ground has been remarkable considering the deluge of rain we've had this week.
Yeah, I know. I was worrying about that actually a little bit because we had a 3-star section in the same arena, wasn't there, yesterday? But yeah, they've made such an amazing effort, as you can see with the white stone.
Just changed behind then, I think.
I wasn't looking.
Oh, blink and you miss it.
Yeah, got the change off. But yeah, it looks a bit sticky in the corners. I think some horses will cope better in that than others.
And actually, you can just see almost Stonehenge just feels like he is getting a little bit stuck in those corners.
Yeah, I think as I was just saying, some horses will cope much better in the deeper mud than others because some may have that natural movement where it doesn't actually matter as much. I know Piggy was saying last night that her horse it'll probably, it won't mind as much because of its natural movement.
It's the Irish bred.
Yes, I know. Piggy looks happy. Susie looks very happy with that.
She does. Susie Berry and Stonehenge making her Event Rider Masters debut here, and a lot to like from that dressage test. We'll come back to her with a score in just a moment.
Yasmin Ingham, perfect piglet. How good was he?
He was amazing. It's such a huge atmosphere in there, and he just seems to cope so well, and he's just got such an amazing brain, and he's so rideable, and he's kind of everything you want in an event horse because he's just so sensible in this big atmosphere, and then he's just the most amazing jumper as well. So I'm really excited to go forward into the show jumping and cross country tomorrow.
He was so relaxed, wasn't he? I mean, having just seen Lord Town Chloe and Christopher Burton and such tenseness, really, seeing you guys, he was so relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, even he's still quite inexperienced in these sort of atmospheres as well, so I'm just delighted with how he coped, and it's just amazing to be here, really.
Well, watch this space, Yaz. I'm only going to see you going all the way.
I hope so. I walked the course yesterday on the cross country, and it's looking very big and meaty, so it'll definitely be a test on Sunday. But he really also excels in the show jumping phase, so I'm also looking forward to that as well.
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed for you.
Thank you very much.
Well, she's rightly delighted with that. Into the lead, Yasmin Ingham, 32.7 with Rehe DJ. As next to come forward is a man who took a team silver medal at the World Equestrian Games last year in Trown for Team Ireland. It is Cathal Daniels with Ryogan Rua, means Red Queen. And this horse, so talented, but pretty feisty in the first phase on occasion as well. Cathal will be hoping she can keep a lid on it today. She's got brilliant Chatsworth form. She was a winner here 12 months ago in one of the other 4-star sections. And Cathal, a man who has a quite remarkable amount of experience for his fairly tender years, only 22 years of age. I mean, he's been all through Pony, Junior, Young Riders, medalled at all of them for Ireland, and now medalled at senior level as well.
It's amazing that this horse was his junior horse. I think it won individual silver, I think, behind Anna Wilkes.
Good knowledge. Absolutely did win individual silver. Young Rider team bronze as well, has won 2 junior team gold medals. So she's been an absolute superstar for
Amazing
him.
To have come from juniors to this top level, and she's tiny as well. But a seriously nice horse. She looks very nice and relaxed.
31.7 here in the dressage last year. Just a bit of a wobble coming into that first hold. Just having a little look around at those crowds. Cathal not hanging around at the halt.
He rode a slightly inside line there around the corner to avoid the mud, and I think you might see a few people doing that. I think I'm going to do that. Don't want to get stuck in the mud.
It's very handy coming in and watching.
Yes, I know.
A few horses first.
See exactly where I need to go. I think that's the only really bad bit though, that top corner.
Well, the judges really marking him down for that entry. And it's always difficult when you get some 4s in your scores to get that trending score to come back down again. She's a real jumping machine. If she can be in with a good shot after the first phase, particularly heading out onto the cross-country, Ian Stark's cross-country track tomorrow. Just actually really having to keep a lid on her now, and we need to watch this closely because when this mare does get very tense in the dressage, Bobby, it can spiral quickly.
I know, we don't want a Badminton repeat.
A couple of years ago at Badminton, she did blow up in the dressage quite spectacularly, and you can just see Cahill, he can't ask her to do it, he has to sit so quietly.
That is not nice for him. But he's done a very good job to get her back in that walk. Wow.
He knows this horse so well. And it's moments like that that it shines through in particular.
That was an incredible recovery to get... Oh no. See the 2s coming in. He'll want to get into that canter, put the walk behind him, and hopefully the mare will settle again. The trending score really did suffer from that middle part of the test in the walk, but Bubby, he did an incredible job there to get this mare back on board. Yeah, she looks like she's really settled now. I mean, that was a seriously impressive recovery from the walk where it didn't look like she wanted to move, but it just shows their partnership, doesn't it?
She was very close to reversing straight out of the arena, and I think if at one particular point he'd have asked her to go, she would have reversed straight out of the arena.
Nice change.
Be good to see Sevens in for that flying change, and the score is just dropping back towards that 40 barrier. He could get back into the 30s. He would be pretty pleased with that. Just a bit tense in that final halt as well, but Cahill Daniels knows this horse so well, and she's always been a little bit quirky in this first phase, but he does manage to keep a lid on it, and trending 40.2. Good to see a 7 from our judge at sea, Christina Klingspor, president of the ground jury at sea. And so we'll give you his score when it does come through in just a moment. But she was a little bit tricky coming up this first centre line. And we'll bring you Cahill's score in a moment. Bubby, you're going to head off and get ready for your dressage. Good luck a little bit later on.
Thank you very much.
We will be cheering you on. Make sure you take the inside line.
Yeah, I'll try.
Well, Bubby Upton in the studio with us, and she's heading off to do her dressage. But let's go and hear from Hannah.
Susie, what a test. That was super, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with him. He was really relaxed and felt good. Just a few green mistakes, but I sort of think at the start of the season it's not really too much of a thing to worry about. He's going to Bramham, so sort of all roads lead to there.
There was a little question mark over his health, wasn't there, this week? Because you were going to withdraw and then you didn't, and then you're here and then you went,
Oh God, it's horses for you, isn't it? But his bloods weren't amazing at the end of last week, and he just didn't run that well at Kiso, but we redid them and they're perfect, so I think see how he is and take it from there.
And you're based with the wonderful Piggy French. I mean, it must just be euphoria at your yard at the moment.
Oh, totally. I don't think we'll come down to earth for quite a long time, I think. I mean, we haven't had much time to celebrate, but amazing.
I mean, watch this space. Presumably the pressure's on you now. You've got to be the next Piggy French.
Oh God, I wouldn't say that now, to be honest. If it was half as good as Pig, I'd be happy.
I'm sure you'll be better than that. Good luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, we really do have some top young riders in the field. Bubby Upton gone to get ready for her dressage, and I'm joined in the studio. And you can just see Ryogan Ruud just outside Cappel's dismounted, and she's still a little bit tricky. But we'll hear from him a little bit later on. Lucy Jackson joins me. Lucy, we're going to see you come forward in the dressage a little bit later on. Delighted to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really, really, really exciting to be here.
Is this your first Event Rider Masters leg to compete in?
I've had one go up at Blair on a horse called Bosun. That was 2 years ago. And I've been lucky enough to join you in the studio a few times more than that, but I'm super excited to be riding and also commentating.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you a little bit later on, coming forward with Superstition at 2:30 if you want to tune in for Lucy's test. But now it is a man who won here back in 2016, the year in which the French dominated that podium. Astier Nicolas with the Arpage du Mancel. Astier, the only French rider we have in the field here. 8 different nations represented in total. He's currently ranked at number 22 in the world. And it's a horse that is relatively inexperienced at this level. Only a 9-year-old by quite easy. Stepped up to 4-star level at this level earlier on this year. Went clear cross country at Belton. And Astier, of course, the individual silver medalist from the Rio Olympic Games. That was on Piaf de Bonneville in the same year that he took the title here. And actually, fun little fact for you, Lucy. Every Event Rider Masters winner here at Chatsworth has gone on that year on their horse that they won here on to compete for their country at the relevant championship. And they've all finished inside the top 10 individually.
Wow, it's obviously a great sort of showcase for stars of the future.
You want to be in the top 10 here? Tokyo next year? Off you go.
Heard it here first.
He's a very extravagant mover.
And the brilliant thing about that is his hind legs are showing as extravagant a difference as his front legs, which is brilliant to see. And I think a mover like this won't struggle as much in this slightly deeper going in the dressage arena here. I think if we had to be critical, we'd like that half pass to have shown more bend. And as he made the changeover, his quarters hopped in front of his shoulders, but then he regained his composure there. It's just disrupting the rhythm a little bit. Now, whether that's ground related or a little bit of tension related, but it's a beautiful medium trot. Really, really, really impressive.
Scored 36.2 on their only previous run at this level at Belton.
Belton's a very electric atmosphere, Chatsworth's a very electric atmosphere, so it's incredible to have the opportunity to expose these horses at this fractionally lower level than the international 5 stars or the championships, so that by the time they do represent their country at the championships, they've had the experience. Tiny miscommunication there in the downwards transition. The horse thought definitely he was going to head for a halt, and Astier just had to catch him with his leg. Now it'll be interesting to see the score. It's a hideous movement to ride, the half pirouette, and I think he rode that really well, and the hind legs did keep stepping, which is what the judges are particularly hot on seeing. You don't want them to plant a hind leg and just scrabble around the corner.
Where's a berry?
I like the length of step in this extended walk. I think if I was to be critical, he ought to have poked his nose out a little bit more rather than over and down. But he's very relaxed in his walk, and an experienced jockey in a double bridle. Although the horse is fussing a little bit with his mouth, he's very, very light on the curb, although the horse did just argue a little bit there. That won't be quite as good a score as the previous pirouette.
Just got a little bit tight in the neck going into that transition.
This horse is just starting to get a little bit keen. And I'm not quite sure what he's doing here, because I have a feeling that was meant to be a serpentine, if I've learnt my test correctly. So, yeah, that will be a 2 penalty.
And that's from the judges, isn't it?
Yes, I think I'm right in saying that each judge will deduct 2 marks from each score, which will then reflect itself in the penalties, so it doesn't add up to 2 penalty deduction. That change was very late, so I'm afraid they won't be very kind on that. The horse is incredibly powerful, and I think it's very hard for him to contain all that power in a 20x60 arena. Astier is doing a great job at containing him, but you can see how the complexity of the test makes the power and the tension sort of squeeze up into a little ball, slightly almost ready to explode, if you like. So the flying change was a 2 and a 4. Oops. In the previous one, and I'd say that will only be a fraction better, if at all. This is all power that will stand him in great stead tomorrow, but I think he could do with less today. If he...
Well, you can really see a lot to like for the future for Arpage de Mansell and Astier Nicolas, but some expensive mistakes, particularly in those flying changes, and they really will push his trending score up. We'll bring that for you as soon as possible. If you are just joining us here in leg 1 of the Event Rider Masters, then a very warm welcome to Chatsworth. Lucy Jackson in the studio with me, and we'll give you an update on that leaderboard in just a moment.
Cahill Daniels, well, what a test that was. I mean, she's a feisty little thing, isn't she?
Yeah, it's her first big event since the World Games, so she's just been doing 1 or 2 one-day events at home. So yeah, the atmosphere felt very good at the start, and then in the walk, the atmosphere got her to a little bit too much time to look around and think, and we recovered out of it, but it's a little bit disappointing coming here and knowing that you have a good shot at it and it ends up like that, but there's still 2 phases to go and she'll have another day.
You were part of the amazing Irish team that came away with a silver medal at WEG, and she was absolutely brilliant there, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was incredible there. Like, she has had a fright in the dressage once or twice before, so it's always a little bit of a worry, but no, she pulled it out of the bag in WEG and we came home with a silver medal, and she was incredible. So I'm lucky to still have her and still have her competing at the big shows. So yeah, there'll be other days where we'll do better than that.
So what can you do for the rest of the weekend? You ended up with a 40 rather than a 28 that maybe you would have wanted. What's the plan now?
Yeah, so like you change plans a little bit. So obviously 28, 29 would have been would have been what we were sort of aiming for, a nice score. So try jump clear around in the jump and then maybe just take it a little bit easier across country and have a nice run and use it as a prep run for somewhere bigger and better.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, it is good to see some of these European riders coming over and looking to get good series points on the board early doors. This man is one of them. It is Tim Lips and Biro. Tim, who's finished 4th in the Event Rider Masters previously. That was actually at Wiesbaden last year with Biro, and comes forward with Eclipse this time, a slightly younger, less experienced horse to his championship ride. But Tim, reigning Dutch national champion. Just a little bit of tension as he came in up the centre line, Lucy.
Yeah, I'm afraid we'd have to say it's a slightly wobbly start. I think it's probably worth remembering this is very early in the season for these horses. I know we've been lucky enough to watch Kentucky, watch Badminton, but that doesn't mean to say these are the horses that have been at those competitions. In fact, those horses are probably having a short break now. So certainly, you know, the purpose of me bringing my horse here is to get the exposure with Bramham in mind, being his sort of championship of the spring. And I'd say a lot of these horses are perhaps at a similar level. So their first big arena exposure for 2019, and I think that's showing. This is a lovely uphill horse. Tim's a very experienced rider. I think the tension for me is showing in the fact that it's looking quite stiff through its body. It doesn't want to bend around the corner, so it's almost, if you like, motorbiking a tiny bit, which makes these movements hard to achieve. He looks to have relaxed a bit there in the medium. Sometimes the irony is that if you push them forward into a medium trot or an extended trot, you can release the pressure valve. He was late to his walk transition there. And this horse is perhaps slightly struggling again with a little bit of tackiness in the going.
How important is it, Lucy? You know, you said he was late to his walk transition there. The judges are going to penalise every single little thing they can, and something like that, unnecessary marks to lose?
Definitely, and frustratingly as a rider, when it's not quite going according to plan with his slightly shaky start, those are the harder tests to then ride really accurately, because you're conscious that you want to keep a lid on it. But it's the test where they're making the odd mistake like that you really need to claw back every mark you can by not making a late transition. So I think he'll be kicking himself for that. There's quite a lot to think about in a dressage test, and it should, at his level and his level of experience, come naturally to ride those movements accurately, and he will have ridden through the test a number of times beforehand.
But then also it's very easy sat here in the studio, not sat on board feeling what he's potentially feeling.
100%, definitely. And there's an awful sort of blank feeling when the wheels are coming off, where you know, even the simplest of tasks feels like quite an uphill struggle. So even halting in the right place there, his canter transition was a little bit late. As you say, we don't know what he's feeling.
But you could tell he was asking for it, and the horse, he was keeping a lid on it, potentially losing more marks. So Tim showing all of his experience in just making sure he can get every possible mark out of our judges.
And again here, the horse's body doesn't really want to bend around the curve it's taking, so that was a late change behind. It's looking harder work through the corners, which makes setting up for your movement take a little bit longer, because you're not in exactly the right balance as you hit the straight line, or as you hit the diagonal line, or you hit the centre line. And there he made a relatively good upwards transition into the medium canter, but the downwards transition was a bit fluffy.
Fluffy? Is that a technical term?
Very. It had fluffy edges. It's not sort of crisp and sharp, and you couldn't exactly see where it was. And again, poor Tim, he's actually having to work quite hard, because the tension has translated in this horse into him going behind his leg and him just slightly holding his breath. That was a better change.
He looks like a horse that when Tim does get it all right in this first phase, he will be looking pretty impressive.
I'd say definitely.
He almost reminds me, particularly, just changing in the extended canter.
Quickly rectified, but I'm afraid that will be very, very expensive. there. You see, you just want him to look to the right as he turns right onto the centre line to make it all smoother.
Well, Tim Lips and Eclipse completing their test. Tim perhaps a little bit disappointed with that in the first phase, but we'll get an update on his score. And a lot to like in the future for this horse in the dressage. Very good in the jumping phases, a horse that is a faultless cross-country jumping record. Retired it at Barocca earlier this year, but having jumped clear to that point, and only 2 poles in the show jumping from 13 international rounds. So they can climb the leaderboard over Dye Show jumping track tomorrow. But the clouds are gathering here, Hannah. I hope you're keeping dry out there.
Afraid not, Nicole, actually. It's pretty damp out here, hence the umbrella. But I'm with Astier Nicola. Astier, you went wrong.
Yes, I did. I think I did too many 3 stars recently, and I went a bit like, you've got the extension before the Serpentine, and stupidly did. But to be honest, that was not the only problem, even if it's not an excuse.
You were just saying now you think 43 is the highest score you've ever got.
Yeah, without a horse blowing up, I think it's the highest, yeah. But I did flying changes, you know.
They really were flying, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the judges don't know what flying means.
So what's the plan for the rest of the weekend, Astier? Because, you know, we had you nailed as one of the favourites here.
Maybe you were a bit optimistic on... personally, I know I was not favourite. The horse is stepping up to that level, so I'm going to try to do a good job tomorrow, whatever, you know. And I'll give him a bit of speed cross-country just to give him a good pipe opener before Bremen, even though he's not competitive. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe not so bad, I mean, because I think all the scores are very high. Because the mud makes it hard to work in this arena. But whatever, I'll just do my job tomorrow and make him work a bit.
Well, we've seen you at the top of the podium here before, so, you know, you never know.
You never know, sport is a very open thing, but statistics are another thing, and they quite often work.
OK, best of luck, Astier.
Thank you, bye.
Well, Astier scored 36.7. Shouldn't discount himself from a good climb up the leaderboard with good jumping phases. And a scoring for Tim Lips, 39.8 with a clip. So Yasmin Ingham still leads the way as next 2 come forwards. It is a young man who made his Event Rider Masters debut by finishing 11th place at Barbary last summer. It is Toby Piggott with Carol Jackson Bell's Golden Forever. Have been clear cross country at a run at this level at Belton a little bit earlier on this year, and a combination that will really look to capitalise on the jumping phases. 14 years of age by Golden Trump, and Toby, I think, scored 41 in the dressage at Barbary 12 months ago. Would perhaps be a fairly different picture to Tim's horse, Lucy.
Definitely a different picture to both of the previous 2. This horse isn't as naturally big a mover, and so his accuracy, as we were mentioning earlier, is going to become even more important to claw every mark he can. He probably can't afford to make any mistakes because the natural sort of flair or extravagance isn't quite there. He looks now to be slightly more relaxed than he was at the start of the test, and perhaps a little bit more relaxed than the previous 3 tests we've watched. And Toby's a rider I've watched the last couple of seasons, and he's a seriously impressive pilot. I think he's a man on a mission, and I think he's going to go a long way in the sport, and particularly in his jumping. I've been sort of super impressed on some very smart young horses, so it's brilliant to have a horse like this that's slightly older, that you can get the exposure at the big shows to then translate that over to your younger horses, teach them, show them the ropes. I think that's a movement that nobody particularly enjoys riding. I'm not exactly sure that I've ever scored a good mark in a walk pirouette, and I don't suppose today's going to be any different. I'm quite good at critiquing it because I know what I'm trying to do. I'm just not brilliant at achieving it. So although he kept walking, it was a very big circle with the back legs, and an even bigger obviously with the front legs, so I'm not sure that that's going to score much over a 6. It'll be interesting to see. a nice relaxed walk in a good frame, although there's not much ground cover with the steps. I think that was probably better, although disappointing that there was a little sort of skippity hop of a trot step before he went into the canter, so you could affect, if you're not careful, the walk to canter transition mark as well as the end of your pirouette mark. You can't choose where to make your mistakes, you're trying to make none, but some of them are more expensive if they translate across two separate movements, and I think that will. There's a really good example of a nicely ridden half halt there before he made the turn, but unfortunately it didn't then get particularly straight, so the change was unlikely to have happened well. It'd be fair to say this horse looks happiest in canter of all the three paces, but again I think there was a bit of fluff at the end of that extended canter. I think he could have kept galloping until the corner. I'm going to have to be careful what I say actually today, because I've got to put my money where my mouth is later. Don't want to jinx myself. I'm an armchair expert and watch this space as to whether I managed to pull it off in the arena. So late behind there. It's always a bit of a debate as to whether when the going gets deep, can you take an inside line and not get penalised for accuracy, or are you better to try and plough your way through the deeper area on the track and stay accurate but affect the horse's movement? I'll take advice from that. Wow, that's an impressive halt. Very good.
A lovely finish to Toby Piggott's test. Golden forever as the umbrellas go up here at Chatsworth. The clouds have really gathered and the rain is coming down. We're nice and dry in our studio, and fingers crossed it will pass and be on its way very shortly. But we'll bring you Toby's score as soon as it does come through. Well, Toby Piggott, the penultimate rider before the lunch break, and one more combination to come forwards. And we'll welcome them into the main arena in just a moment's time. But now, let's go back to Hannah.
Tim, that wasn't the dream dressage test for you, was it?
No. I think it was all a little bit too much for Eclipse, and yeah, finally I only had to manage him to ride him till the end. Normally you think that in cross country, but this time it was in the dressage.
I mean, he was spooky before you even got into the arena, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a pity that we had no familiarization, and I think for this horse, with this experience, it was a bit too hard for him today. So I only tried to give him that confidence and didn't even try to have good marks anymore.
It's hard as well when it's wet like this, you know. I think it's getting quite muddy in there.
Yeah, it's quite muddy, but I think that's not a problem for him. He will cope with it, but it was just too spooky for him.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you again, hopefully in Arville, I believe.
Yeah, I try to go there, yes.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Well, Tim showing absolutely all of his experience, giving the horse a good experience of the arena, a young talent for the future. But now it is one half of Equiratings with his other hat on this weekend. It is Sam Watson with the Tullabeg Flamenco. And this a horse that was so impressive at both Buccalo and Tattersalls long format 4 stars last year, finished on his dressage score on both occasions, was top 10 here at Chatsworth in one of the other 3-star, or 3-star as it was, 4-star as it is now sections. And Sam, of course, as I say, one half of Equiratings. Dan will be watching on from Equiratings Corner. But this is a horse that Sam really does think a huge amount of. One of his 3 rides that has been named on the Irish squad heading in towards Tokyo next year.
I'm going to be really brave and say I think this is going to go into the lead.
Oh, Lucy, we're very, very cautious when we have Sam in the arena, you know.
I think that the impression outside has just been fabulous. It's gorgeous, it's uphill, it's got a more extravagant movement than we've seen so far, and it looks quite relaxed. So I think first impressions do affect judges to a degree, and it's if you want to set them off in the right tone, do something flash outside, and he definitely did that.
Well, the leader at the moment is Yasmin Ingham, Rehe DJ 32.7. And Sam shouldn't be at all deterred by a little bit of mud and a little bit of rain.
Definitely not. They look quite at home. I think he could have been braver with his bend in those half passes. Again, it's difficult to know what you're feeling out there. This horse doesn't look like he's affected by the atmosphere, but maybe he just felt a little slip on the turn and went a fraction more cautious, but it's a gorgeous medium trot there.
Average is 34.6 from 5 runs in the last 12 months. And actually scored 35.1 here 12 months ago. He is a stunning looking horse, isn't he?
Isn't he? He's really eye-catching.
It's not often that you see a horse of his sort of markings competing at top level eventing.
They do say when you have a done, you don't get a bad one.
I can attest to that. And we had actually, Sam was talking about him on the Equa Ratings Eventing podcast this week, and very much said he is the nicest person. He'd put one of his kids on him, he'd put his grandma on him, he'd put anybody on him. He's just a lovely, lovely person.
Nice work, Sam. I think that was a very good pirouette. So far he's been incredibly accurate. I don't think you could accuse Sam of having thrown a single mark away. There will be marks not given for various things, but it is not a matter of arena craft. He's done a super job.
Sam, of course, was part of that Irish team that won a team silver at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon last year, pushed the British team really, really hard on that occasion for gold.
Again, another good pirouette and a good transition to canter in a very accurate place. I think that the walk looked as if the horse was ducking a bit low in his head carriage, so the pole wasn't necessarily the highest point, but Sam looked like he was riding that relatively cautiously, so he obviously thinks that the horse was a good idea not to ask for more. Good flying change. And he's definitely sticking to the track, and the horse is working very hard to make a good job of going in the deep.
Well, he's trending to be challenging our leader of Yasmin Ingham, Ray DJ. You said he was going to lead, Lucy. Still standing by that?
I definitely am. I think it's been a lovely test to watch. I've really enjoyed it. It gives you a good feeling. There are parts of the test where you think Sam might have been able to be braver, and I think he probably will be able to in the horse's next international appearance. But it's been very solid. It's been very accurate, and there's not a lot to dislike. Clean change, but it was after the centre line. Great transition up into the extended canter. And a good transition back. No fluffing there, Nicole.
No fluffing. Sam Watson cannot be accused of fluffing his transitions. Well, he comes up the final centre line. And what a lovely finish to a very, very good test from Sam Watson and Tullableg. Flamenco will bring you a score for him as soon as it does come through, but it is going to be challenging. I'm pretty certain, Lucy, you called it as soon as he came up the centre line. Made me a bit nervous, but I think he will be going into the lead here.
I think there's a gorgeous picture of his beautiful plats and his amazing wife Sparkles, his hashtag supergroom. And I think it's quite hard work producing horses to look beautiful in this mud.
Quite hard work producing Sam as well.
I've no idea.
No, he really, really does do a brilliant job, and Sparkles, his wife, is behind him every step of the way. We'll bring you Sam's score in just a moment, But in the meantime, let's go back to Hannah.
Toby, we knew that dressage wasn't going to be your strongest phase. It hasn't been, but how was that for you?
Yeah, as expected. Like you just said, he's had to learn all of this in the last 2 years, and he's doing well just to even be here. Dressage isn't his best phase, but the next 2 phases are, so hopefully we'll claw our way back as he usually does.
It's quite an atmosphere here at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's busy enough, and the weather isn't helping, and it's really churned up in there already, so he doesn't move brilliantly, and he didn't really move at all in that now cement, which is a shame, but, you know, I'm not disappointed because it was expected. He's not going to suddenly move like Vallegro, but hopefully he'll jump like Big Star.
OK, good luck tomorrow, Toby.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks.
Well, Toby Piggott, 43.9, goes 8th at the moment. We're waiting for a score to come in for Sam Watson. We'll bring you that as soon as it does come through, because I'm frantically refreshing my live scores. But that takes us through the first session of dressage. We're going to talk about the action in just a moment's time. Lucy, highlight for you so far?
Sam Watson, Colorbank Flamenco. I thought that was a beautiful test. Great to watch, and I feel quite inspired by that.
Inspired? Well, you should be, because actually you are coming in to do your dressage in just a moment. We'll bring you Sam's score. I was hoping to have it before we go to his partner in crime. Echo ratings look to be leading going into the lunch break. Talk about that in just a second. We're going to go back to Echo Ratings Corner, I do promise you, and we'll bring you Sam's score. Lucy, this afternoon, your test coming forward, you're not going to be that long after the lunch break. Are you pretty happy with how the arena's looking in terms of ground? Will that bother your boy?
He's an extravagant mover, so I think it is slightly harder for those flashier horses. But for us, I'd like to do a solid clear round in the dressage, if that doesn't sound like a silly thing to say. I just would like him to cope with the atmosphere and me to ride an accurate test and see where that takes us.
Perfectly acceptable. We always talk about a clear round in the dressage. Well, now we are going to go back to Derm and Echo Ratings Corner.
What a morning of action, Nicole. Echo Ratings leading, is that confirmed? It sounds good. Sam Watson, hopefully he's done a good test. I've been trying to get this ready. The key moment for me, absolutely no doubt, it was Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe. We talked about them as a potential favourite because of his speed cross country. Looking at spectator judging, you guys had him down there pretty much where he is, 35.5. He's actually just that little bit lower. But spectator judging, one of the big SAP apps, that had him right where he is. We looked at it on the Eventing Prediction Centre. It's going to be a big mover. We had him at a 7% win chance. Actually, we're going to see a big movement down on the basis of that test. He is still able to get back with his speed, potentially for a podium. I cannot see Chris Burton winning from here. Maybe he'll make me eat my words if that speed is all critical tomorrow. Finally, Echo Rating Stacks, it was the biggest loser of the day. 95% of people voted that Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe would be a sub-30 test. It wasn't. We're playing all across the morning. The new the fan league from Event Rider Masters, it's bringing together Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity. It's bringing together the fan league, Echo Rating Stacks. You can look at what's going to happen on the Prediction Centre, but what a start for all of the new technology in Event Rider Masters.
Well, who will be topping the leaderboard towards the end of the day? We will have to wait and see. We're going to confirm Sam's score for you in just a second. But our riders, if they are wearing a Wilbury Wonder Pony, as Sturm just said a few moments ago, out on the cross country tomorrow. If the winning rider wears one, then SAP will offer an additional prize, and they will double that if the rider then offers that prize to the charity. So we are going to have a lunch break in just a few moments' time. But before we do, let's go and catch up with Sam and Hannah.
Well, the man that is leading the first session this morning, Sam Watson, that was, well, firstly, what a beautiful horse, and secondly, beautiful test.
Yeah, really beautiful horse. You're picking up on the right thing there, and the test is coming all the time. I still got to do a better job. We've taken a good few marks off. His last few tests have not been in the ballpark. That's a horse who should be sub-30 comfortably. And then today is a test that we can definitely take the next step from. So good today.
So we heard in the commentary box that apparently the line to say is, if you have a dun, it's a good one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know that commentary team fairly well, and I take it with a pinch of salt what comes from them. Good people, hearts in the right place, but we'll see about the insight.
So listen, you finished the first session this morning leading. Hopes and expectations for the rest of the weekend?
Like, serious job to do here. It's not the first phase in Chatsworth. Two good phases to come. It's a big arena that we got to jump in. They'll hike it up as big as they can get it as well. This rain means that the footing is you're not going to bounce off it tomorrow. They're going to have to work. So I'd say you have two very exciting phases coming up, and he's a good horse in 3 phases. So I just want to keep going, finish on that score if I can.
And how's the rain going to affect those Chatsworth hills?
A little bit, yeah. It's quite nice because you have to go downhill as well, which people sort of sometimes forget. So to not have any concussion and firm ground is nice. It just depends on how much of this rain we get as to how difficult it becomes. But I like it now. I'm very happy with this. I take a few more showers.
Well, you're Irish. You're used to the rain, aren't you?
Yeah. Been a dry enough winter, but no, we like it. We like it, and this horse likes it. He was good. He went around Chatsworth here last year, not in the ERM, but he goes. He's as honest as the day is long, or whatever that expression is. I often get them right. I think I've got that one right, Dermot Byrne. He'll be looking for me to get one wrong. So I think he'll enjoy it, and I think he'll just keep working and doing his job. He's done his job today in the first phase.
Okay, great, Sam. Thanks very much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
There would certainly be a huge amount of people cheering him on if he can climb up onto a podium finish by Sunday. But he is our leader going into the lunch break. Sam Watson, Tullabeg Flamenco. Delighted for Sam, a huge part of the Event Rider Masters team. Yasmin Ingham, an excellent test with Rehe DJ. Impressive in second, 32.7. And just looking a little bit further down the leaderboard, Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe, a little bit disappointing, 36.7. But actually, you guys judging at home with the SAP Spectator Judging app, on the whole, agreeing with our judges. You would have also had Sam Watson out in front and only 0.3 out from where the actual ground jury had him as well. So if you want to get involved with the SAP Spectator Judging app, then you can do so, and you can download it for free in your app store and judge along. Earn those fan points throughout the afternoon's dressage sessions. So let's take a look at the running order of those combinations coming forward throughout the afternoon session. And we hit the ground running. Tom McEwen, Figaro Van Het Broekhoff, a winner already at the level this year. Ludwig Svennestal has been on the podium previously with Stinger. He's second into the arena. Lucy Jackson, who's been our guest with Superstition, also coming forward in the afternoon session. And of course, Piggy French, Castletown Clover, the badminton winner. Piggy, she'll be full of confidence. Oliver Townend, the 2016 series champion as well, rides Ulysses, a winner here at Chatsworth. Then the final session of dressage, those riders with the best averages in the field. Laura Collett, London 52, the first rider to come forward at around 3:30 this afternoon. Gemma Tattersall, Quick Look, a winner here 2 years ago, this combination. And a little bit further on down the order, Alex Bragg, Zagreb, Sarah Cohen and Treason, both former leg winners at Jardy and Wiesbaden respectively. So as you can see, we have a huge amount in store for you throughout the afternoon, and you won't want to miss any of the action at all. Lucy has been my guest this afternoon. Lucy, good luck in the dressage. We'll be rooting for you, watching those walk pirouettes carefully.
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a real who's who. It's so exciting to see that, the running order. It's there's some great and good of eventing here.
Who are you looking forward to seeing this afternoon?
I think reigning badminton champion.
Piggy French,
yeah.
The lady of the moment.
The lady of the moment.
We'll watch forward for Piggy a little bit later on. We hope that you will join us for all of the action here from leg one of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series. We'll be back at 10 to 2. Do join us then.